Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Throwaway Tasya. My 23 female friend, 23 female, sent nudes to my husband, 31 male, and he rejected her, but never told me anything. When we were in our senior year of high school, he, 31 male, was our substitute teacher, and obviously all the girls liked him because he was the only young teacher we had. And I'd, 23 female, be lying if I said that no one tried to flirt with him, because we all did at the time. But he was always very professional and never tried anything with any of us. He and I met again a year after my graduation, and that's when we started dating. And at first, my friend, 23 female, used to joke saying things like that I was very lucky to have what everyone else wanted in high school. At first, it was funny because things between my husband and I weren't that serious, but then our relationship became like really serious, and I didn't like those jokes anymore, and I let her know and she stopped. For years, she never did those kinds of jokes again. She got a boyfriend too, so I thought all those things she said were part of the past, but it was not like that. A few days ago, I was taking pictures of our baby and our dogs with my husband's phone, since his phone is 1,000 times better than mine. And at that moment, he received a DM from an anonymous Instagram account. So I opened it and I didn't like what I saw at all, because it was a video of my friend doing something very intimate with herself. I was too naive and thought, well, maybe she sent it to the wrong person. But then she said something like she was mad that he blocked her main account and asked him if he liked the other videos, which means that she sent him other videos from her main account. So I found the chat and yes, he had blocked her, but the chat was still there, which means he can see those pictures and videos whenever he wants, and just thinking about it makes me feel really sick. In that chat, she confessed that she has always been in love with him and that her boyfriend doesn't satisfy her because she can only think about him. She then said that she knows that lately he's not having much fun, and if he wants, she can give him a hand without anyone knowing. That hurt me so much because a few weeks ago we talked about how I felt ashamed of having sex again because I gave birth 2 months ago and that I feel insecure about my body. But I told her that as good friends that I thought we were, because I expected her to give me advice or something. I don't know, I didn't expect her to try to F my husband. And the only thing my husband told her was that she was crazy and that he was going to show me that chat so that I can see who she really is, and then he blocked her. But it's been a few days and he never showed me those chats, and that makes me think that maybe he liked those pictures and videos, so I confronted him. He told me that he doesn't even care about her and that he didn't tell me anything about those messages because he didn't know how to tell me and because he thought that finding out about that could have been bad for me. I had a really bad time during my pregnancy and he has been very concerned about my health ever since, so that's why he said that. And he told me that that's why he locked himself in his office every time she came to visit us, because she makes him feel uncomfortable. Then I asked him if he thinks our sex life is boring, and he said no, that he is satisfied and that he didn't mind not having sex for weeks because when we had sex again, it felt like the first time. And hearing that was really nice, but I can't stop thinking about why he didn't delete the chat. He says it was so he could show me when he's ready, but I don't know. Now we are on vacation, but all I can do is think about that. Even every time we have sex, I think that maybe I'm not enough, and that's why he didn't delete that chat, to see her pictures and videos. He noticed that, so he told me 1,000 times that he thinks I'm hot and that he only thinks of me when we have sex, and that he only saw those pictures and videos when he opened the chat the first time, and that he never saw them again. He swore he doesn't even think my so-called friend is attractive, and I want to believe him, but at the same time I feel confused. We've been together for 5 years and I never felt that way, and I don't know what to do to stop feeling that way. Maybe it's the hormones, I don't know, but I feel so sad and so sad about myself, and I would like to know how I could deal with this. Alright, OP, in my opinion, the first thing you need to do is cut this so-called friend out of your life absolutely. She is not your friend, so out she goes. Second thing I would do is focus on what your husband said and did. He told her on chat that he was going to show you and he blocked her. She had to make another account to keep sending him videos and he hadn't replied because he didn't see that one yet. His explanation to keep the account about wanting to tell you but hadn't gotten to it yet because he didn't know how you'd react, I think is very, very valid. He was looking out for your feelings, but he was keeping the evidence. He locks himself in the office every time she comes around to see you because she makes him uncomfortable. But just to go along with your logic for a little bit, let's explore that he kept the pictures and videos because he sees you as not enough, right? Or at least that's what your insecurity is making you feel right now. Then the question is, why keep them on your phone that your wife is going to use to take pictures? Why not take them out of your phone and put them in some sort of secret folder somewhere in a hard drive or your computer or something? Anyways, in my opinion, the way you need to deal with this is by working through your insecurities. Doing that with your partner or some professional that can help you figure this out. Just don't let your insecurities get the best of you or that could hurt your relationship. And what do you guys think about this situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Tristan Trubrisky says, "It seems pretty clear to me he's being completely honest. It's not an easy conversation to say, hey, your friend is trying to F me, and you've been clear that you're more self-conscious right now. He probably didn't feel like it was the best time, and if he was really trying to hide it without showing, he'd save those pictures and delete the chat." Coco's Knees says, "Go by the facts you know. 1. You can read the whole chat. He didn't hide it. He called her crazy and blocked her. 2. He hid in his office when she came to visit. 3. Nothing in his actions indicates that he's even remotely interested in her in any way. 4. She used the information you trusted her with to try to get to him. He hasn't broken your trust. The rest is your insecurities, which are completely understandable, humane, and normal. Most women feel insecure about their bodies during or after pregnancy, but that is still your insecurities. Don't put them on your husband. I think in this case, your husband has been truthful. He's had good intentions in why he didn't tell you yet. Ill-advised, but still good intentions. He was sexually harassed by your friend. He didn't ask nor want this, and he had no clue how to handle it. Forgive him taking a bit more time to think it through." Canavish Lagorchestes says, "It sounds like he did all the right things. There's a lot of reasons why he might not have deleted the messages. He wanted to show you but hadn't figured out the right time or what to say. If he deleted them, he couldn't have shown you and you may not have believed him. If and when you found out about it, he wanted proof that he didn't flirt back. He might not delete messages often or at all, so it may not have crossed his mind as a thing he could even do. Relax, your husband is being faithful to you and has your best interest in mind." Additional information from OP's comments. Just to make it clear, I was not groomed. He was my substitute teacher for only a month and a half, and then I didn't see him again until I was in college and he was doing his PhD. How it happened was that I just saw him during our break one time, but he didn't see me, so I decided to contact him on Instagram. I told him that I saw him and blah blah blah, and then asked him if one day we could meet during our break so that he could help me with my first exam. He accepted and we started being friends, and then we started dating, and that's all. That being said, I'm not mad at him, I'm just confused because I don't understand why he didn't delete the pictures and videos." Alright, well, I think the community gave OP some good things to think about and a lot of logic in there as to why the husband isn't being a jerk and that she should cut her friend out. Also, there were apparently a lot of people doing math regarding their ages, so OP cleared all that out. So now it's time that we move on to the update to see how this story ends. When I posted, I hadn't talked to my friend yet. I wasn't going to confront her on the phone. We had to have a face-to-face talk. So when I got back from my trip 2 days ago, I decided to go to her house and I told her everything I saw, and of course, she made up 1,000 excuses. To be honest, that pissed me off because she was playing the victim and I wasn't going to believe that crap. So I told her to stop lying, but she kept lying and she was getting on my nerves. So I started crying because it hurt me to see how she was lying like we hadn't been best friends for years. Apparently, that made her mad because she started saying so many horrible things that I couldn't even believe she was saying that. She said that she always got what she wanted and that she couldn't understand how someone like me could get what she wanted so much, and even tried to make me look like the bad guy and accused me of harassing my husband in the past. She says that because I went to the same college where he was doing his PhD, but I didn't know that because I never had contact with them. It was a coincidence. She knows that perfectly well, but she kept saying things like that anyway. She told me that I hooked up with him because I wanted to prove to her that I can also get what I want. But that's not true. I never planned any of this. It just happened. But according to her, I'm the psychopath who harassed him and trapped him with a baby that he didn't want. This is also a lie because our baby was planned and she knows that too. So I don't know why she was saying those things. It's like she's gone crazy or something. What hurts the most is that it is as if she thinks that our years of friendship were just a competition. A competition about who was the prettiest. But I always knew this because she was always the prettiest and I was her shadow. But I was fine with that. The most intelligent, the most successful with men, etc. But for me, our friendship was more than that. I really loved her and I would never have thought that everything would end like this because I trusted her my whole life. She was there when I took my pregnancy test, when I was pregnant, and even when my daughter was born. Those moments were really important in my life and she knew it. So I don't know what happened to her reacting like this. She is acting like a psycho and it honestly scares me. If my husband didn't reject her, was she going to sleep with him while pretending to be my friend? Just thinking about it makes me feel sick to my stomach. I told her that now she is dead to me and she didn't even care. She kept trying to make me feel bad and of course I left. I didn't want to listen to her. I just want everything that happened to be a dream, but since it isn't, I guess from now on I'll have to learn to live without her. But that's my therapist's business, not Reddit's. As for my husband, I don't blame him for anything. We talked a lot about what happened and I understood why he didn't delete those chats, so now we're fine. I know I reacted badly and I've apologized for that. And in case you're wondering, I did tell her boyfriend. From what I know, they are still dating though. I sent him screenshots of everything she sent, the videos and pictures, and what she said. Alright OP, this is a good update. There's still a little bit of work to be done, which you acknowledge, but at least you got the toxicity out of your life and you told her boyfriend, so good for you. So on that note, I'm gonna wish you and your husband and your baby all the best in the future and take care. Thanks for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Arrow the Observer. Want me to unload my own trailer? Okay, I need a vacation anyway. So I was a trucker for a while and that comes with plenty of stories of crazy things in so many places. One of my favorite stories, however, comes from a piece of malicious compliance that came together just perfectly. The setup. I tend to be a bit on the lazy side when I can get away with it, and I searched for quite some time to find a company that would keep me far away from unloading the trailers myself. I found a good one that had a 95% drop and hook rate. Drop off a trailer full of goods, then grab a new one that's either loaded or take to the next pickup. 4.9% of them are either handled by the receiving dock or by lumpers, dock workers hired by warehouse companies specifically to unload trucks. That 0.1% is a list of places that just wants to watch you work or be convinced that you really shouldn't operate their lifts. In my contract, I saw that there was a place where your hourly rate for unloading was stated, not for the hours that you were sitting and waiting to be unloaded, but for when you were the one unloading your own trailer. I also saw that the contract allowed for alterations to be made to the price of the service to be charged to the customer. As a joke, I put in not one, but two extra zeros. $1,500 an hour for unloading a trailer should deter most people. Most people saw that, got a good laugh, then pulled in someone to unload for me. The event. Most people, as I said, were smart. This run was set to arrive at 3 AM at a certain clothing store in the mall. Let's call him IB Nickeled. I'd been to this store a few times before and it was always the same manager, Mr. Dime, receiving me, and it was always the same runaround. If I wanted to get unloaded, I had to wait for someone to get there. Then I'd have to sit and wait while the poor kid back there got the load off, and then I'd have to wait for traffic to ease up to get out, since it was always almost 10:30 by the time I finally left, leaving me with only a couple of hours left on my clock to get to a truck stop for the day. I got there and yep, Mr. Dime had come in to accept the load. It was always hard to be smart at 3 a.m. and I can only imagine that was part of Mr. Dime's usual runaround. This time was a bit different for a few reasons. One, he smelled like there was a bit of a herbal calming remedy about him to settle his nerves for the night. Two, he said that he was completely understaffed and there was no one around to unload me, so I'd have to do it myself. Three, I couldn't stay at my usual time because he had to leave before 5 a.m. To be fair to him, I did try and say, sure, but my contract says, I don't give a damn what your contract states. I don't have anyone in until the store opens and I've got an appointment that's more important than some trucker's contract. Just unload it yourself. I considered it for a moment and went back up to my truck to get my tablet. This was in 2019 before the virus and the company had just swapped over to tablets for certain things like signing off on expenses or getting permissions. Mr. Dime was fuming when I came back and handed him the tablet. Just read through it and sign with your finger. He didn't read through it. I had 20 pallets at 1,500 pounds each. The only available tool to unload was a manual pallet jack. I started my work clock and began unloading at 3:15. At 5 a.m., Mr. Dime looked satisfied to see me about 3/4 of the way through as he was out the door. At 5:15, Mr. Dime's replacement, Mr. Quarter of the day shift, comes running in with his face white as a sheet to see me taking off the fourth to last pallet. Please tell me that I'm reading this wrong, he pled fruitlessly. I wish I could. I lied, knowing that Mr. Dime was about to be up a muddy creek with a spoon. I even tried telling Mr. Dime what he was getting into, but he just skimmed and signed. He slumped. Wait here, I need to call my district manager. Better be quick, I want to be out of this lot by 6:30 to beat the morning rush and get a good breakfast. He ran back and I continued unloading. When I finally got the last pallet off at 5:50, I turned off my time clock as the district manager came in. We'll call him Mr. Dollar just to keep it consistent. Followed both by Mr. Quarter, who was looking somewhat relieved, and by Mr. Dime, who was somewhere between terrified and furious. You're Mr. Arrow? Mr. Dollar asked, holding a printout and looking at it for the name. That's me, I agreed. I take it they sent over the contract Mr. Dime signed? Yes, and that's just it. Mr. Dime is accusing you of forging his signature on this since there's no way he'd sign off on a multi-$1,000 contract just to unload a trailer, especially since he claims you insisted on unloading it yourself. I whistled, that's a heck of an accusation. Hey, is that CCTV I see up in that corner over there? I asked, knowing full well that the entire loading dock was covered by a slew of cameras. The one I pointed out was positioned just right to catch the whole conversation at the door. Mr. Quarter, get the footage, Mr. Dollar said. We don't have audio, but we do have visual on them. Mr. Dime lost his fury and now just looked petrified. The recording was on Mr. Quarter's phone when he came back and was pretty low quality, but you could still make out that I argued with him about unloading for a minute before coming back, and he did indeed sign it. Mr. Dollar said, you can go, Arrow. Mr. Dime, go wait in the office now. I got going while the going was good. I was grinning like a loon back to my truck. I called my manager, booked some home time, and walked away with enough money to last until the end of the month. The next time I went into that IB nickeled, there was a new, much more sensible manager who always had a man on staff to unload the trucks. Well, I'm sure Mr. Dime learned a lesson after that one, like he probably now reads all the terms and conditions to every website out there. Thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.